Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie and I want to welcome you to a peaceful and relaxing time doing some little doodles and sketches and drawings on little tags that can be used for gift tags, or what I'm going to use them for is the Advent calendar box. So here we go. Come on. All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to be drawing on these tags that look like this. But just as a reminder, these tags are 2 3/4 inches tall by 1 3/4 inches wide. So 2 3/4 inches tall is 7 centimeters. 1 3/4 inches wide is 4.5 centimeters. And then about 1/4 of an inch down and about an inch in. Almost an inch, 7/8 of an inch in, I pop a hole to put the tag cord through, just like that. Nice and easy. I did this with a heavyweight cardstock. This is 110 pound. You could do this with the inexpensive cardstock that you get at the you can find in like 10-sheet packs at the dollar store. I am using these tags for my Advent calendar to finish it off, because right now what I have are these numbers on here. I lost one of the tags that I made in my previous gift tag video, so I've got to make 15 of them. I need to get moving. So here we go. Number 1. Actually, it's number 3, but who's counting? I want to start off with my pen. I am going to use a black Pigma Micron this time to draw. And I'm going to do a Christmas tree that looks like a cookie again. But this one's going to have it look like there's a ribbon woven through the middle of it. Yeah, I think that's good. So first I'm going to start off with a circle at the top, because that's where the string is going to be coming through. But I'm only going to put it on that side. And the reason why I did that was just so I knew where it was. I'm going to come down. This is a cookie cutter tree, so it's going to have 3 bumpity bumps, come across, have its little trunk, then it's going to come down and sort of kind of match up. Just like that. Now this is going to have ribbon woven through. Now the ribbon is actually going through on the front side. So I'm going to grab a blue pen to start putting in my ribbon, because I want a blue ribbon. So by making 2 little very slight curves and then coming out right even with those up and down lines. The vertical lines are the slits that the ribbon is being fed through, and then it's going to come out the back side, and you're going to see it on the front side. So what I did is I pretended I know where that is and try to line it up so that it looks like that ribbon is going all the way through. Isn't that fun? So now I want to thicken up that line, because this is like that grosgrain ribbon, which is the textured, heavier type of ribbon. You see it on a lot of furnishings and at Christmas time for a lot of decorations. Then it has these kind of textured lines that you see going through. And I'm just going to draw them. By having put that more heavy line on either side. It's like that binding edge. But you don't get that in the cut ends. So I didn't double the line up in the cut ends. There. Now I want the lighter blue to kind of come in here and sort of mix with that other color. These pens are actually pretty reactive to each other. So it will blend a little bit. They will sort of bleed into each other. And you can even use the lighter color to create that shadow that you would get where it's going in and where it's coming out. There we go. Oh, that's neat. Now for the tree, I think I am going to pretend that there is white on this, a little bit of white snow in this tree. But to do that, I'm going to go in with a colored pencil and sort of color in random green bits, just like that. And I'm doing it in not really scribbly, but I'm doing it in a motion that mimics a little bit of tree branch. So they have some fingers, some little bits coming in and out. There we go. And then a little bit in the middle here. Especially if you're using them as gift tags, you don't want to spend a lot of time on these. So, just spend as much time as you feel comfortable doing, but don't stress about it. This is fun art. It's not fine art. So let's just have some fun. Now I took a lighter brown, kind of a gingerbread brown, and I'm going to take a darker brown right around that area that's underneath the edge of that tree and around the trunk a little bit, but I'm leaving the center of it that lighter brown. And that gives it a little bit of a dimension without too much fuss. And then I'm going to take the light blue pencil and I'm going to give it just a little bit of shadows in the snow. And that kind of goes with that blue that we used for the ribbon. And I guess if you were thinking about it in a certain way, that actually looks kind of like a camouflage. You could make a camouflage tree. All right, we're going to do a quick angel. She has the letter U, a long swoopy U for the bottom of her face. She has a fairly long neck that goes into shoulders. She has a little shallow U for the top of her dress. Excuse me. Then she has her arms coming across her body. So basically, it is a letter L and a letter J. And because of the way I'm fiddlesticks. So it's a letter L and a letter J. Yeah. And then there's just a ball right here where her hands are joined. That's all. And then her dress is just going to come down and go right off the edge. Then she's got a very short little hairstyle. Just like that. And her wings, just like this. And then I'm just going to make those feathery bits like that. Now these make awesome little coloring sheets. You can do up a whole bunch of them to use to color. Just sitting in the evenings, or you've got the grandkids coming over, or your friends, and you're going to do a cookie exchange, and you want to have something to do. Now I'm taking, it's kind of a peachy orangey color, and I'm going to go ahead and color her face in and her neck just nice and smoothly. And you know, it's very light. I'll go a little bit darker under the edge of her hair, and after I get her neck in, that's an impossibly long neck, but you know what? It's what happened. And along the edge of her dress. I'm going to go ahead and give her some rosy cheeks. Just coloring them in. She is a doll angel, so she can have colored in cheeks, nice and rosy. And she's not getting eyes or anything. I think she's going to have a little bit of blush down here, just on her collarbone, just because. There we go. And she is going to have some golden yellowy type hair. Really quick, just color it in. You know, you see how this is very much like a little coloring book now, right? There we go. Oh, I need to color her hands the same color that I colored her face. And a little bit darker around the edges where it would be next to her dress. Her wings are going to actually be heavenly blue, but not completely colored. The wings are getting a blue shadow, so that they look like they're behind her. And now they have shape. Just really quick. And her dress is going to stay white. I hope you guys are enjoying this. It's a lot of fun to do just quick, simple little things. And maybe her dress is going to get a little bit of a blue shadow under the sleeves and down the little creases of her dress. Just to give her a little bit of dimension. There we go. All right. Isn't she sweet? That's 2. Oh boy, I need to get moving along better. I'm really taking my time on these, aren't I? So, I have another snowman that I like. And this snowman, he's kind of got this little attitude going on here. He's kind of happy about life, but his whole body is shaped a little funny. So we've got a scarf with his little knot. We've got an arm, and just choose a spot and put an arm. It's going to have a mitten on it. Like that. And that's where it's going into, just getting stuck into the snow of his body. Then his body is going to be this kind of lumpy bump. Like that. And his buttons are going to be coming down like this. Off the front. And then you're going to see a little bit more snow. Bumpity bump in there. His hat. It's kind of like an old bucket hat. The brim is sort of flipped down. And kind of curved over the top. His little eyes. You see just a tiny bit of an eye on that side. Oh, fiddlesticks! I did it again. I am so sorry. Ah! You have to yell louder. And then a bigger eye on this side. We're going to leave a spot for a little highlight right there and make that other side big enough so that there's a little highlight. And then he gets these little lumpy bits of coal. And some lines going over his nose. And the trickiest bit right here is drawing his other arm. So it's two lines side by side. Draw up to the scarf and then stop. Pretend that you're going through the scarf, then start drawing again. Through the scarf and start drawing again. Oop, gotta miss his nose. And then there. We've got him all in. Now I want to get these buttons because they're just lumpy bits of coal. And there might be a couple shadows and a couple highlights on it. And that extra little line that I drew there, that could be like his jacket. Could be just like his jacket had been drawn on. He has stripes on his scarf. Curve those lines to match the curve of his scarf. And then straight lines out on the legs of the scarf. You can put little fringes on if you want. I do. I want little fringes on there. And I'm going to give him some cute little eyebrows. There we are. And maybe space for a ribbon. He's going to be put in really fast. We're using the blue to give us some shadows in the snow. Round the buttons. Kind of around and under the buttons. Under the edge of the scarf. Coming down. Under the edge of his chin and his neck, under the edge of the hat. And that gives him those types of shadows around his back, and then just a couple little lumpy spots. And on the ground underneath of him. Snow's done. Some brown for the branches that were used for his arms, or maybe broom handles that were broken. You can use anything and you can do anything. I think his scarf is going to be a, let's see. Oh, he's going to be really styling here with orange and pinky purple color. So we're going to curve this color in. A little bit there. Dark, dark, dark under there. and around, and his hat is going to get a little bit of this also on that band. The orange, it's going to go into that band a little bit. It's going to go on to his mittens. I forgot to put pink on his mittens. His mittens are a funny stripe too. It's a really hard stripe to do as knitting, but it's not hard to color it because you can color it any way you want. There we go. I need a little bit more blue on this back side here where he would be more in shadow because he's farther away from us, and around his nose. Orange on his nose. Pink stripes in his gloves, just because. Oh, that pink really works well with that orange too. There we go. And we have number 3. Alrighty, so mug of cocoa. Now this is a long and skinny oval, very flattened oval. Then around the back you wouldn't see much at the top edge of the mug. Around the front you'll see a little bit more of that. Like that. Now on the inside of the mug, the liquid is going to be seen because we're looking slightly down into this mug. I am going to come down the side and curve in, kind of like a letter L. Down the side and curve in, kind of like a letter J. And then join that up together. And maybe make a little foot on it. Just like that. Then the handle. I'm saying the handle is around away from us a little bit. So the handle is back here behind a little bit, which means that we're going to see some of the inside of that handle. Just like that. And I'm thinking this one is going to end up being almost completely black and white. Not completely, almost completely. I'm going to put a little Christmas tree on my mug because my little mug for Coco is a Christmas tree mug. A little tree with a star. And then a little bit of snow around the base. It has a few ornaments on it, little balls. Just like that. And then I need a smaller tipped pen. Because what I want to do is go in and do some little lines slightly curving, coming around the edges. Just like that, and just like this. It helps to give it that little idea that it might be curved. And then we've got a few little lines here, like there's a table. I'm going to put some little steam lines here. Boop, boop, boop. Because it's a nice warm cup of cocoa. And then I'm going to take my, oh, let's see here. Maybe I'll just use the brown pen this time. And we're going to put brown cocoa and give it a two-tone brown in here so it looks warm and chocolatey. A quick star color on the top, and yeah, I want a bright green. Oh, that's not the bright green, that's right. forgot. This one is misleading on the color. So I'll just sort of color a little bit of green in and then go for the bright green. There we go. Brown for the trunk, and then this one will be done. There we go. Sweet little mug of cocoa. All right. Okay, let's see. I think I am going to do a little like a garland or a strand, a strand of lights. How about that? A strand of lights with maybe a couple little trees hanging on it or stars, but I'm not sure yet. But the strand of lights is a squiggly line. One end of that squiggly line, I'm actually going to make it look like a plug. The other end of that squiggly line, I'm going to put a light. Now, I am putting the bases of my lights in with this heavier pen, but then I am going to use the lighter, thinner pen to put the lights in. Now, the bases are just like little boxes. Straight lines, so it's a small straight line across, and a straight line back. These are going to be pretty big bulbs, actually. There we go. And then my fine tip pen, and I'm going to make old-fashioned bulbs. Just like that. Long and skinny, with a little point. So it goes out, up to a point, and then swoops back to the base. These are big enough that we'll be able to leave a little bit of coloring out so that we can have some highlight. And then I'm going to let that one just go right off the paper. And these are going to be done in colored pencil because it's a lot faster. So I am going to go in on this one, right up here at the top, and very lightly, I'm going to color it. Just give it a nice little layer of color. But I'm leaving that center bit really light. Now I can take and apply a little more pressure around the outside edges and let it just sort of feather off as it comes in towards the inside. There we go. And look at that. We have a little light that is lit up. I'm going to do another one of those pink ones. Magenta-y color. Light, light, light. And then come back in around the base and up the sides a little bit and leave a lighter space in the middle. Then we are going to grab a green because I like the green lights on the trees too. They just add to that color. Light, 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 then press. Leave that spot for a highlight. There you go. Light, light, light. Leave a spot for a highlight. But make sure that you get it dark right down next to the base. All right. Now, this tree is going to have really red also. A really red light. So we're going to go light, 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 light. And don't worry if you get outside the lines. You know, this is just quick and fun. If you're doing it for gift cards, like I said, or gift tags, don't spend a ton of time on them. You know, spend as much time as it makes you happy to do. But remember that most people are not going to keep those tags forever. So don't spend so much time on them that you would feel bad if they just tore it off the package and threw it away. You know? Light, 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 light. And then dark next to the base. As you come away, make sure that you leave a spot for a highlight. We're going to come out here. We're going to light, light, light. Next to the base. Come around. And leave a space for the highlight. We've got 3 more bulbs on here. Well, I think I'm going to go with a go with the that would be right next to it. What do we want? Orange. We want orange. So we're going to do 2 orange bulbs. Light, 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 and then deepen it up as it's next to the base and leave a little highlight spot. Now, when I'm saying light, 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 I'm not telling you. I'm reminding myself. Because, you know, this is at the end of a long day. I have been at work. I've been up since really early this morning. Let's see. Do we want the lavender or a pink? Yeah, we'll just go with a pink. Now, these pencils are really quite nice for this, for simple little coloring. There we go. Left that. And I don't think I'm adding anything else extra to this except for coloring in the bases. This kind of green that the chords would be normally. I'm not coloring the chord though. There we go. Almost done. There we are. Another tag. That's pretty. Okay, I am going to do a little bit to make it a little bit more fun. I'm going to come underneath of it like this and under the plug. And then I'm going to swoop in like this, and there's going to be a little bit of shadow where the bulb is. And then like that, and a little shadow. And like that, and a shadow. This is not perfect. This is not a perfect representation of the shadows that would be there. But it's giving just an idea that, you know, there might be some shadows. There might be some light shining on these. Maybe it's daytime and the box has just been opened and you're getting ready to start decorating the tree. You just tested the lights to make sure that they worked. Remember, test your lights before you put them on the tree. Please don't ask me how I know that. Yeah. I have put lights on before without testing, and that was not well advised. There we go. Just a little bit of a shadow, not a lot, and it's not perfect. It's just something to give us an idea. So let's go. More. Another one. Let's see. Penguins. I heard that. Somebody said penguins. Now these are cute little penguins. These are little penguins that would be... These are little cute penguins. Let's see. Kind of an egg shape with sort of a flattened bit down here at the bottom. Maybe a tall egg shape. And then we're going to give him just cute little feet. You know, they have good flippers. And then for his head, he's going to have this little peaky bit, and then it comes around, almost like a Mickey Mouse face. And then comes down, and then he's got his little arm. And this is a very stylized little penguin. He's not representing any real penguin. He came just now out of my imagination. All right, but what I need is my heavier pen now. See? That was my lightweight pen, but now when I'm coloring in all of this area, maybe I'll use my black, I'll just use my black colored pencil. So we can just color him in really quick. Oh yeah, I'm glad I chose the black colored pencil. So we're just going to get him colored in. Around the outside, I'm going to give him a little bit harder pressure on the side that's on my left. This side right here. And then maybe a little bit darker over his eye area. But I want to leave a little bit lighter in a couple spots here so it feels like he's almost shiny. So we're going to give him his little black wing on the other side, and then under his little face bit and down his wing. You know, and he's got his tuxedo on. He does. He's ready for his formal dance, his formal winter ball. There we go. And then we are going to put his little beak on, which is a triangle. And he's going to have big eyes. And I really should change to my smaller pen again. Back and forth. This smaller one is a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen. My bigger one is the Micron 08. So now I'm going to give him his pupil with a highlight as much as I can. And his little beak is there. We're going to give him orange feet, and then he will be done. Although, even though it's not authentically right, he's getting pink blushy cheeks. Pink blushy cheeks. And some orange on his beak. And then he's standing on a rock. Or an iceberg. He's watching out for polar bears. Even though penguins are in the Antarctic, not the Arctic. So really, polar bears and penguins aren't in the same place. There we go. He's cute. Oh my gosh, he is so cute. There we go. All right. Let's see. How about a star? How about a fun star? 8-pointed. Looks kind of dimensional. Let's do it. So it would have long arms for the top and for the basically like north and south, and long arms for east and west. So right now we have an X. Then you're going to break this X, see, letter X, or a plus sign. But you're going to break this into eighths now. And we're only going to go about halfway out, but we will cross through the center and stop. And then about halfway out, cross through the center and stop. All right, so now you're going, okay, that's okay, I guess. But what we're going to do is we are going to now go put a dot at the sort of halfway or a quarter of the way out of the long ones, but in the middle between the lines. And you're going, okay, that's interesting. But now you're going to go to each point, each of these legs, and you are going to come down and stop at that dot. But you're going to do that from every single one of the legs. Just like this. And you're going, oh, well, that's interesting. That's looking more like a star, like maybe one of those stars that you'd put on top of the Christmas tree. Starting to look more like something interesting. Okay. So now the next step is you go from that little point all the way to the center. And look what's happening. You're getting these wonderful long and short diamonds that all match up to the center point. It's kind of like magic, but it's not. It's something you can do over and over and over again. And look at that. Now, the next step is we color it. Now, you can color this with colors, or you can do it with black and white. And to make this actually kind of cool and different, I am first going to put a border going all the way around. And I want that border to be about 1/8 of an inch. So I am going to put extended lines for those center line areas. There. So we can put a border on a star. Goes all the way around, just like that. And if it falls off the edge of the card, that's okay. I wanted to bulk it up just a little bit. Make it a little bit more. See, but look at that. Again, it's not hard. And I'm not drawing this with any rulers or any, anything that's going to make these lines really, really perfect. I don't have to. It's a hand-drawn card. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just do this in black and white. I'm not even putting color on it. You could leave this just like this and give it to somebody as a whole bundle of them, not colored, so that they can color their own gift tags. And if you give them, if you do like a Secret Santa, and you give somebody a whole bundle of little black and white drawn gift tags and some colored pencils, say you've got someone who really likes art. Now, I did my lines really quite close together for that first side there. I'm separating my lines here. That makes it look lighter or more highlighted. Then this one I'm going to do very dark. So I'm putting my lines really, really close together. The next one I'm actually going to do very light again. So I'm separating my lines just like that. And then I'm going to go really dark again. You see what I'm doing here is I'm giving you, like the light is hitting from this way up here, or that way, that way, that way, that way, this way, that way. Anyway, but then this one right here is actually showing like it's a little bit on that darker side. And then this one, it's not quite so dark. But then this one is really, really dark. So I'm just really going to just color that one in dark, dark, dark. But this one next to it is just completely bright white. The most light is hitting it. But then this edge right here, this is dark. But the next one next to it is really bright again. And then the next one is mostly dark. Not completely dark, but mostly dark. Just like that. Then the one above it, this one, is a little bit shadowed. Not completely, just a bit. This side is light, and this side is just a little bit shadowed. Like that. And then this side on this one gets just the tiniest little bit. But then this one this border part right here, it's actually darker than that point. And this part right here is darker than that point. This one right here is a little bit dark. And then it's like barely has any shadow on it here. And barely has any shadow on it here. And then the rest of them are all light. And look, we've got another star done. We've got another ornament. And I think that I am going to really quick just give that a real quick shadow with the gray. It's kind of a green gray. There we go. And a little bit on that side, and a little bit on that side. And okay, I want a little bit up here too. Just because. And there we go. We've got another one done. Let's keep going. Oh, let's see. Poinsettia. I want to draw a poinsettia. Poinsettias are actually really easy and a lot of fun. I like to start my poinsettia out with the little bits that are in the center that are actually these little guys right here. Those are actually the flower. Everything else that you see are leaves. They're just colorful leaves. So right here, I'm drawing in some of the small ones, very small leaves. Then I'm going to go ahead and draw some more leaves. And now these leaves, they're actually very easy, and they can be, you know, they can be as hard as you want them to be or as detailed, but, you know, they don't have to be. They don't have to be hard or anything, because if you look, it's really quite a wiggly line. And like some of them are big and some of them are little. And then, you know, then some come out to really strong points and maybe are folded over a little bit. So that's where that line is there. And some might wander off the edge a little bit and back in underneath. Off the edge, and that's totally okay. And then we've got another one right here. And I'm sort of doing this in a 5-petal type of format. But not, I mean, not religiously sticking to that. Just kind of doing it that way. So then there's some of these lines where it's wrinkled, and some of the lines where the veins are. There we go. And then we'll toss a little bit of color on these, just because really this was very fast. Just get the little veins and things drawn in with the black pen. And then we decide what leaves are green and what leaves are red or pink, or a combination of red and pink. There we go. Whoops, almost. Almost. I need to get a few more veins in here. And I didn't even put the shadows in with the pen. Look at that. We have a poinsettia. And, oh, yep, I see it. There we go. So now I am going to take this sort of olivey green, and I am choosing that some of these back ones are going to have a dusting of this lighter green in them where they're highlighted. And I'm just choosing the ones that are in back, the ones that are farther away from me. And if they're bumped up, I want the highlight. And if they're, yeah, I'm going to leave that one, make that one a red one. You know, so if the leaf is bumped up, I want it to have the lighter green. Then if it goes down, I want the darker green. And so this is the darker green. Well, it's brighter green. It's a bright dark green. What other green? I thought I had another green. Interesting. Okay, well, I can take a little bit of red down inside there to darken that up along the edge underneath of those the red leaves. I will put my dark green under the edge of the leaf, and then deep anything that's a deep in leaf. Or if it's sort of folded away from me, it will get the dark green treatment. And now I'm just coloring like I would be coloring in a coloring book. I'm not doing any fancy blending, really. I mean, yeah, I put the light green on first, and then I'm working my way around. But, you know, this is pretty basic type coloring that anyone can do, and it's very relaxing, and I just sort of want to go with the flow on coloring, and I'm trying to not spend too much time doing it. So now I am grabbing this kind of reddy rusty brown color and giving it just a little bit of some shading and funny little red veins on those green leaves, because you actually see that on the real flowers, real leaves. A little bit of variation of color. So it's okay to have these random colors that just sort of pop up, just sort of show up, that color surprise. There we go. And now we are going to go in. I want to put this kind of yellowy color in to those little flowers in the center, and a touch of the green, just to kind of tone it down just a bit. Now we are going to go in and start giving these poinsettias some color. I'm actually going to take the pink as my highlight color and go in and just start highlighting centers of leaves, the high points, out on the tips. This part right here, just because. I'm even going to color in on those the little leaves. Just get the pink on there. And then we are going to use the red. And that is going to go in and sort of follow the veins and go underneath of the different color areas. So deep inside, under the other petals next to it. Those center ones may just end up staying mostly pink. And that's okay too. Some of them I might even leave a little bit of the white. There's some really pretty variegated petals or leaves on poinsettias that I've seen. I've taken a lot of pictures of poinsettias over the years. So I have a whole bunch of reference pictures of my own. My husband's taken lots of pictures too, and between the two of us, we've got quite a catalog of pictures we can use. There we go, almost done. And look at that. Isn't that pretty? And almost, I want to put a little bit of dark down inside those little petals, close to the yellow. All right, there we go. And that one is done. Okay. how many have we done so far? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whew! That's a lot of them, but that's not all of them. I need to get this done for... All right, so I've got 8 done, and it took me an hour to get 8 because I was talking while I was coloring, and that makes me take a lot more time. I'm really sorry. I hope you guys don't mind that. Okay, so I decided I'm just going to go ahead and put all of this together in one video for all of the extra tags. So here's what my Advent looks like right now. The Advent calendar. Isn't it cute? And now there's still some spots here for a couple more tags. 1 tag here and then 5 more tags here. So I have 6 tags left to go, and which is perfect because I have 6 more designs to do. But look at that. Isn't that sweet? I love how this looks. It's kind of classy, but kind of homey at the same time. So let's keep going in mind to do a little Starbucks cup. And this time I am actually going to use a graphite pencil to kind of lay it out because I want to make sure that I get the angles right. This is going to be probably a grande cup, so it's a little taller. Yeah, you can see that. Then so it's a fairly tall, sloped container. I need to straighten up my sides. This curve at the bottom should match the curve at the top, or the curve at the top should match the curve at the bottom. So I am getting a little too deep of a curve here. So I'm just going to use the eraser. You know, erasers were made so that you could fix mistakes. So there we go. Not quite as deep. Now, the top of the cup is going to have a lid. So it has this sort of rolled edge, and then stepping in from that, it goes straight up, and then the front edge matches the curve of the cup. And then there's another front edge that matches the curve, but it doesn't go all the way outside to the very far edges. It stops short. And then almost the same curve, but not quite. It's a little bit flatter for the back. And then your sides just barely wrap around. So that is your basic shape. Now I'm going to go ahead and get it put in with the pen just to make it easier to see. So this is my Faber-Castell size S black ink. And I'm just basically going to go on my lines that I drew. Just like that. Now, on one of those edges, there's going to be a hole for drinking out of. And in the center, there's that little vent spot. So I put a little black dot there for the vent. Then we've got that rolled edge of the lid. And now if you were just doing the cup without a lid, you would still do the rolled edge. because there's a rolled edge on the cup also, which keeps the lid on. Now I'm just going and putting a few little sort of cross hatch lines or just hatching lines just to give it a little bit of shadow and a little bit of shape on that white lid. And then on the top, this back edge here, actually it steps down. So I'm going to go ahead and shadow that a little bit too. That's all that takes to put the cup lid in. Now I'm going to go ahead and very light pressure, just enough to get the pen to touch the paper and leave ink, but I'm not pressing hard. And if my cup ends up going off on its own little journey, I'm just going to go with it. So there we go. Now the cup that was just released is their heart cup. So you can put a heart, and then you can put your initials or your family's initials or your sweetie's initials. Zebra Sensations number 2 colored pencil, which is a red colored pencil. Give it a little bit of length on the lead here, or on the little bit of length on the color core. There we go. So periodically, while you're coloring, you want to rotate the pen or pencil. Rotate the pencil, because what that does is it helps you to keep the core from getting flattened off and just sort of going into a chisel, which, you know, you could make it go into a chisel on purpose if you wanted to by just coloring it flat on one edge for a long time. But I want to be able to color this and get a fairly smooth coloring. So I'm doing circles, basically. And I really don't want a sharp edge to end up interfering and causing my lines to get sort of sharp and take over. I'm trying to get a fairly smooth laydown of color. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh my golly. I know I say this almost every time, but it was a long day at work. And then I come home and I'm doing something I absolutely love. I love to draw. I love to color. I love getting to be able to make videos that you guys enjoy also. And you know what? If I color outside, if I'm coloring light enough, I can usually lift it off with a little bit of an eraser, or I just ignore it. All right, so we've got a fairly nice, smooth laydown of color. We're going right up to the edge of that heart. Just like that. And now what I want to do is take the same pencil, and I'm going to go and put a heavier line right under the lid and coming down the sides just a bit. I just want to give it a sense of roundness. So I'm going to take that color sort of round around the edge, just like that. And who would have thought it would take me this long to color in one little cup? Part of it is that I'm talking and explaining as I go, but that, and then I'm going to give it just a little bit of a gray underneath the cup, just to make it look like it's actually sitting on something. And I could have gone and erased the pencil lines from the graphite pencil before I had done my color pencil part. I am going to erase the graphite out of the lid area, just so it's not gray. But the rest of it, oh, I was going to see if I can erase a little bit of pencil line, color pencil. Oh yeah, if you're light enough with your color pencil, you can actually erase some of those overshot lines. There we go. I hope you don't mind that this is a much longer video. There we go. But I think that the items that we're making are really pretty. They're very special, and you can actually make real cards with these also. So there's one. And now I need to move a little bit more quickly. I think we're going to do some holly berries and holly leaves. So I'm going to put my berries on, and I'm using my pencil, lightly drawing. I'm going to have 3 leaves, and they're going to be nice and pointy. Just like that. And like that. So I think I'm going to put another berry so it looks like it's kind of under here, and one under here, and one under there. And then we're going to just give it a quick inking. And I'm not too worried about making it precious. You know, remember, it's gift tags or it's the advent calendar. If it's the advent calendar, you might want to take a little bit more time. And mine is for the advent calendar, but I'm going to try and do it quickly. Just because I want to get done in a reasonable amount of time. I don't want you guys to be hanging out here and getting frustrated because I'm taking so long. Remember, you can make just the black and white outlines and put them together as a coloring book. Or you could put them together as a coloring project as an advent, where you take your black and white drawings on the little cards and put them all in a basket, and then have someone pull from the basket, and then you just put the date on it, so 1, 2, 3, on it as you fill up the advent calendar with your pieces of art that are all colored. by you or by your person who's doing the coloring. All right. So we've got an eraser. This is just a like a Statler Mars white vinyl eraser. I happen to like those a lot. They really clean the graphite off. And even though it does make some crumbs, it's not crumbly. But it cleans off really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting my berries in. And I'm giving them just a very light start off here. And I'm leaving a white spot for the highlight. There we go. Just leave a light spot for the highlight. If the berry, the holly berry, is in enough light. I think that's good. Now I want some of this more rusty red to go in for my shadows underneath, where it's under the leaves or under another berry. So this one is under those berries there, and that one is up against there. That's under a leaf. This is under a leaf. So if you look at it and you go under and over is what you're thinking as you go. And wherever you have a light, you're going to have a dark. So remember that. If you want light to show up, you have to have dark near it. That's under that edge right there, or over that edge. See, look at that. Now I want to go back in with a little bit more of this red, just to sort of polish it up just a smidge. There we go. Leaving a little bit of that white still, almost like doing a watercolor where you use the white of the paper for part of your color mixing and for leaving your highlights. Oh, that worked out really well. So now I am actually going to take this yellow, and this yellow I'm going to go in some of the areas where it's going to be more highlighted, and just lay in this yellow really fast. You see how that's going? I do want it to be laid in kind of smoothly. And just like that, we almost have all of our highlights colored in for the leaves. Now, there's not going to be much of this yellow actually showing up in the end, but it's going to tone the colors that go over it. And because I'm not pressing really hard, I'm going to end up with some nice color. Now this is a medium green, medium light green. I'm working from light to dark here, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to work enough color on. I'm going to go to my darkest green next. So it was bright yellow, light medium green, and then a darker green. And there we go. Almost all the way around. There we are. Okay, and then my darkest green. because I want to work some shadowy areas, sort of along those vein lines and such. Work it down. There we go. Oh, that's starting to look pretty. Well, I guess it was already looking kind of pretty, but you know what I mean. It's starting to look more green and not quite so almost dead. How leaves turn yellow when they're dying. So get those in, see the difference in them. These two have had the darker color put on and that one hasn't yet. But they're still pretty light and bright. And that's okay. I want to kind of keep to the lighter colors, I think, anyway. And that's just a choice. I'm not looking at any actual holly. I'm sort of making it up as I go. I might put a little bit of a dark blue on here too. Oh yeah, because that dark blue actually goes in and turns a really nice green. Whew, all right. So I was trying to put a good spin on it, but I wanted it to be a little bit darker and more like real holly. There we go. But I'm still making it kind of a variegated look. Sort of a variegated holly. There we are. We're going to work this in. Mostly coming from that center, the center line, and working our way out along the veins and out to the edges. And down that center line and out to the edges. There we go. And this one is just about done. All right. So there we go. Oh, that's sweet. Okay, I say a lot of things are sweet, and I say things are cool, and that's just the way I talk. Those are very nice, and they'll go really well on the Advent. So now, number 20. I think I'm going to continue with my greens and maybe a ribbon and make some, well, I think I'll just go and live a little dangerous here and just draw them in. I'm going to make, with the colored pencil, a couple stems of fir bough. Now I'm doing a few branches, the stemmy ends, just like that. Then I am going to leave a space. That's where the bow is going to go. And I don't want to have to fight over this color. So if you think it out ahead of time, you go, all right, the ribbon is going to get tied right here. So I'll come down from there to make my actual fir branches. There we go. Now, this is the sort of the woody bit that the greens will be attached to, the pine needles or fir bough needles, fir needles. And that's F-I-R. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and fir trees are what we have in my area on the western side of the Cascade Mountains. And now I am just putting in the needles. And this is just the first layer of the needles. And you notice I'm basically making just slightly diagonal lines. And if they cross over another stem or another branch, that's okay. Some are going to be in front, some are going to be behind. And right now it looks very flat. And that's because I have not put any needles or any green going over the top where it would be, where they would be standing up, because the needles grow all the way around the branch. So you have lots of pine needles growing around the stem, sticking out at various ways. But for right now, we're getting our bottom layer on. There we go. It's sort of like doing an underpainting, but with colored pencil and cheap colored pencils. These are inexpensive. They're not, I wouldn't say that this is a professional grade, but I would definitely say these were fun for coloring with. So there we go. And now I'm going to grab a different darker green to give me some other needles sort of coming off and giving us a little bit more dimension. And it's kind of hard to see. This is not really a dark green, it's a brighter green. And I may take that blue in here again, just like I used in the last one, to give us a bit more of a dark green in there. Because this is just giving us a little bit of texture, but it's not really giving us very much. So I'm going to go back. Oh yeah, there we go. We can say this is a blue spruce, right? There we go. Just a few here and there to give us some dark down in. But that just makes it feel a little bit more real, even though this is just a little illustration. It's not realism. It's never meant to be realism on this. Let me pick that up and show it to you a little bit closer. There we go. See how that's looking? And then I'm going to take that reddish brown and go in and give a little bit more there. And then I think this kind of yellow ochre-y color. I might put a little bit of that down in here also. Oh yeah, just a little bit. And now the bow. And I think we're going to go with a purpley pink colored bow. So we're going to give it almost like a little Christmas ball. Just a circle that's been colored in, and I'm going to actually leave a little spot like a highlight. Then we're just going to draw the bow in. And if you notice, I did 2 loops I think I made that a little too loopy. Let's see. Sometimes when you draw your ribbons on, you go, whoops. So this ribbon actually has a double tail, this bow, and I want to sort of swoop this out a little bit. Just because I can, you know? Nothing says that it has to be exactly the way you started out. You can change it up as you go. Enjoy the process. And then I'm going to take a darker pinky purple and give the inside of my loop a little bit of shadow. I'm going to use this as my shadow on the ribbon also. Where the bow is over the top of the ribbons, the tails. And that bit of the tail is going to just go all dark. This part is going to be a little bit dark, but not all the way. That one's going to be all the way dark back there and behind, which makes this one stand out. Now this drawing was done without putting any pen on it. You could have inked this and had it as a coloring sheet also. Nothing says that just because I use a colored pencil, you can't just do it with a pen. Or if I do it with a pen, that you can't just do it with a colored pencil. There we go. Isn't that pretty? All right, next up is going to be some, I think we're going to do candles. So this one I'm going to do in black and white and only put the glow of the candles and maybe the color of the little Christmas balls that I'm going to have around below it. I am putting 3 candles on. I'm going to start with my short one in the front. And now I'm not taking these all the way down to the bottom because I have an idea of what I want to do. And I just took that one up a little bit higher than I really wanted to go. That's okay though, because I'm making it up as I go. And truthfully, nobody else would even know if I didn't say something. So now I want my little wax that's sort of overflowing a little bit and that's kind of running down the edge. And then this candle is actually sort of behind the one right here. And I guess the wind in this space all runs about the same direction, blowing the wax off. There we go. The candle flame is on the wick, so the wick comes up. And I'm very, very lightly going to just give a candle flame shape, sort of in a little dotted line. Mostly it's just so I know where it is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put some Christmas balls in. And then there's also going to be a few little fir boughs. Let's see, I want another Christmas ball here, and one more right there. Then there's going to be some fir bough. Like that. And like this. Because remember, I'm not making feathers. I'm making fir bough, or fir branches, pine branches, so there we are. A couple more. We're going to go one going this way. And you notice you can put them in pretty quick and easy. Just go back and make sure you put a little bit of a row on the top to give it that tiny bit of dimension that it really does need, so it doesn't look like feathers. Going this way. I know this ended up being a really long video, and I am so happy that you guys really wanted to see how I make all of the other tags for the Advent calendar. Or other tags for Christmas decorations, or for the Christmas gift tags. You can use these for so many different things. And I want one more that's kind of curving back up this way. And then we'll get that little bit of color in here. Just a touch. Oh, I want one more there. It was looking a little bit bare right there. And put a little bit of shadow in here. There, like that, and like that. All right. Now, for those to be Christmas balls, they probably need to have a few of the little Christmas ball tops. Some of them are turned around backwards to us. But there, we have a few that are actually standing up. So I'm going to get the flame in. So first I'm putting in my bright yellow. The deeper the color, the closer it is to the center and being more hot. So now I'm going to take some of this orange and put it in just softly and lightly, right there in the center, and a tiny little touch of it around the edge, just to give it more of an orangey glow. Forgot, I want to put some little smokies. All it is a swivelly line. And then the Christmas balls, just like I've been doing on so many other things. Dark where it's overlapping, kind of dark where it's down underneath, leaving a space that's much brighter and lighter, just like that. And this one I'm going to go swirl, 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 and then work my way in. Go back out and press a little harder around the edges, but not totally hard. I am going to do, let's see, I think kind of a goldy yellow. Swirling in, leaving that light color for the shiny highlight. We're going to do the same thing, I think, on this one back here, but it's going to get a bit more dark right where it is crossing behind things. And I think its highlight is actually going to be high because that's where it would be getting more light. And let's see, a deeper, darker magenta? No, lighter, a light blue. Let's go with a light blue. Yeah. Just like that. That one's done. And then this one, the highlight is actually going to be right close to that top, that hanger bit. Just like that. And now, I guess I am going to put a little bit of color onto the candle. Right up here, there's going to be a bit. It's going to shadowed underneath of the wax and then come down. But I'm leaving it mostly the white of the paper. But underneath of that wax strip, there's a bit of a shadow. And then under that wax bit on that one, a little bit harder back where the candle is behind. And there we go. That almost looks like those little candles are glowing. That's good. All right. So we have two more. I think I want, let's see, what do I want? Oh, I know. I want some Christmas balls, but I want the fancier ones. I want a Christmas ball that looks like it has that shimmery, shiny center, like the shiny Brites. So what I'm going to do to get that is I'm going to actually use a template to get my circle. This will be to get my outside circle, and a lot of the shiny Brites are like purples and silvers and things like that. So I'm going to use the purple. Let's see, I think it's going to be about that big of a circle. Now this is a circle template that I have had for a long time. I actually got it about 30 some odd years ago when I was pregnant with my son, and I was doing some architectural drafting, some remodel redrawings for my dad. He had an architectural drafting company. So the center of that little shiny bit, I'm going to use gray. And it is going to get these little pie shapes. And then each of those little pie shapes is going to have some extra little rays in it. And the thing that's going to make it look shiny is by having it be lighter out at the outside edge and darker towards the center, but then a little bit of darkness out here on the outside edge also, just a tiny bit, where the purple paint or purple finished part meets the shiny silver part. And I'm not using a shiny silver pencil. You could use a metallic if you wanted to. I don't have a metallic pencil. So I'm just trying to make us feel like we're looking at something shiny. So right now that's looking kind of pretty. Kind of pretty. There's something about this pencil is that you can, once you've flattened it out a little bit on one edge, you can sometimes grab just a spark of pencil. Now that actually is starting to look almost like a little diamond, isn't it? That's cool. And I might take a tiny bit of the white Uniball pen in on that also. But I do need, let's see, I need to come up with the purple that would be the glass, coming up underneath of where the metal hanger is. So we're just going to go like that. Shade in from the edges, but leave the center pretty much white because that makes that look more shiny. And then give it a little loop. And I want to bring a tiny bit of pen in to give that a little more dimension. There we go. That makes me happy. And then we're going to take that, let's see, I think this is going to be one of those really funny looking ones. It's going to have a different stripe. And yes, you could make the Pokemon balls, their little red ball with the white and the button or whatever it is. I'm not sure what that is, but if you do Pokemon, you know what I'm talking about, right? I'm doing this one in non-traditional colors. Actually, I have seen shiny Brite ornaments that were done in very non-traditional type colors. Give that a little bit of a shine there. And there's going to be a little bit of a shiny bit underneath. And I think there's something on my table underneath of my paper that just like a lump of paint or something. And I keep running across it with my pencil. That's been a little bit of a challenge. There we go. We'll just darken up that line right up against it. Give that a little bit more of a dark shadow. Look at that. Oh, that's fun. Because it's actually quick and easy. Now, if you didn't have a template to do your circles, you could actually just find something that has a circle that you could draw. So you're not limited. I mean, look at that. The center of this would have been perfect for that center bit right there. You're not limited by what you have to use for tools. look at what you have around you, because it's amazing how many tools we use every day that could be made into an art tool. And I am just going to grab the black, I think, to make a little hanger. Just like that. And that almost looked like it was shining as I picked it up. So, all right, so for the very last one, I think I'm going to do a present. And this present is basically just a box. And it's a box that you don't know what's inside. The anticipation of finding out what's in your present is so much more exciting. It's like coming down, when you were a kid and you would go down and look where your Christmas tree was, if you had a Christmas tree, or where where the presents would be all piled up. In my house, when I was a kid, my parents would do they would leave all the lights on the Christmas tree for that one night so that we could, have that beautiful glow when we all came in the morning. So right now, this just looks like, boxes that are kind of tipped up on each other. I want to put a ribbon on this one, but I don't want to get too carried away on this ribbon until I get the bow on. And my perspective could be off just a little bit. I'm not worried about that because, these are the gifts of Christmas time, the gifts of joy, the gifts that we give to each other. And sometimes they can be a little wonky, like that birthday cake that your kid would make for you, or you made for your mom. Things can be wonky. Things can have a little bit of perspective that's off, and that's okay. But I loved coming down on Christmas morning and seeing all of the packages with all of the lights glowing. It was magical. It was totally magical. And my parents did that for us. There were so many kids in our family that, none of us got a ton of presents, but under the tree was always so full looking because of there being so many people. Even with just 1 or 2 or 3 gifts, you had just this bounty overflowing. And it just made it feel really special. So that made it a little bit weird when I got married and I had, it was just my husband and I. And I was so used to the Christmas tree that was overflowing that I almost felt a little bit let down by Christmas after I got married, because it wasn't overflowing anymore. But then I realized, and it took me a little while to realize this, that it wasn't the presents, it was the time together that we had, that we were sharing. It was the joy of just being with people that you love that really made all the difference. And once I got to that point where I could really get past it wasn't the presents. Yeah, I kind of lived a Whoville type life, you know? To begin with, I really wanted all the stuff. But now, I don't need all this stuff. I really have more fun making these things like this and sharing them with you. So, as I was talking, I was making loops for my ribbons. Just like that. And going in and giving them a little bit of shadow. Little spaces for shine. And these are actually pretty plain packages, aren't they? Makes a great coloring sheet. And let's see here. I think this one is just going to have like a piece of string that's been wrapped around. And it's kind of coming loose because it's been piled underneath of things. And so there's like a little bit of a shadow line here. And I made little Christmas trees in the corners on this one. And I think there's going to be like little rays of light at the top. Just like that. I will use my gray pen, or my gray colored pencil, and put just a little bit of a shadow underneath. Just like this. And maybe just on the package where the other package is kind of leaning up against it. And there could be more packages that were stacked up, but I think for the very last one that I'm going to leave this one not colored because I want to keep it a little more simple. I hope that you have fun, enjoy your time making and sharing your artwork. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please click that like button, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so that you'll be notified when new videos go up. Leave me a comment and let me know, what did you think of having this really long video? Did you fast forward through? That was okay. I don't mind if you were fast forwarding through. Did you watch every single drawing? Or did you say, oh, okay, that one's good, let's move on? Let me know in the comment section below. And, as always, go out, do something creative, take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. And I hope to see you back here again really soon. Bye-bye.